Hi everyone, hi all the loyal supporters and all the followers of Bromsgrove Sporting. I'd just like to reflect back on what has been a very challenging and a very eventful 2024. It's just over a year now since myself and Richard Bourne joined the board at a time when the club, I think, was needing some direction, and the board, as it was then, asked for some clarification, asked for us to come in and help, which we gladly did as our local club. And we basically decided that we needed to redirect where the club was. Essentially, probably on lots of different levels, is to try and regain the club's status as a hub of the community and in the town, as it has been for many, many years. So we went about doing that in a variety of ways, but also during this period, the events of the year of myself as chairman, we've endured 4 different managers, which is a lot to endure for any football club on a football level, through no fault or whatever of anybody individually. So we had Michael McGrath when I first came in. He was then followed by a short-term appointment of Tim Flowers. We then got Paul Smith to come back in the early part of the year of the new season, and again through his decision he departed, and Scott, his assistant, we decided that we wanted to appoint somebody, a younger manager, and I think the players had bought into him, and I think he knew the DNA of the way the club wants to go forward. So I think he wanted to take the opportunity himself, and we gave him that position, and you know, so far so good. So looking back, early part of the year when we decided that we needed a heavier presence in the community, I think what we've managed to achieve, and I'm going back to the early parts that we started off with the Easter egg hunt, early part of the year. That was followed by the 5-a-side tournament, which is run by the Colts at the end of the season, which was very successful. We then had the Real Madrid Day for the youth, which again was very, very successful. That was then followed by the Carnival, which is the first time we've been involved for six years, which was supported heavily by Pinfields, the accountants, which we're very grateful. And I think that's something we want to try and make an annual event for us. We then, sort of the latter part of the year, decided that we would team up with a preferred charity, a local charity, which was St Basil's for the homeless in and around the area, which we've done. And we subsequently then had a Santa's Grotto, which we've just recently done in support of them. So I think this year we've tried to do as much as we can. We've got lots of plans to go forward for next season. I think the big part of what the football club needs on a regular basis to be sustainable is obviously revenue. We don't have a benefactor. The club doesn't allow a benefactor, and probably rightfully so. Therefore, there are only 3 streams of revenue that you can contribute to the club, and that's obviously from the bar takings. It can be for sponsorships, and it can also be gate receipts. The support we've had from the community since the beginning of the year has been excellent, and we've graded up on all those areas of revenue that we've talked about, with significant ones from UK Electrical. Steve and Debbie penned a contract or agreement for 3 years to the naming of the stadium, which is now the UK Electrical Stadium, which was a significant contribution from them for the community. We've also had excellent support, as always, from the 3 main sponsors. Elliot Nash in particular has been unbelievable, contributed in so many different ways. We've had Martin at Waste Management, the council. They are massive supporters of the football club, and we're very, very grateful for that support, that continued support. And Steve Land from Swallow, from our on the brewery side. So those are key elements, but we've had lots and lots of local community as well. Pinfields increased their support, and we've had numerous other local businesses, which we're very, very grateful for. On the back of that, we managed to do some things that made the experience in the ground a little bit better, with, again, local support from Luke Sharkey, or Luke Sharkey Smith, whose granddad was Jack Sharkey. Those of you that used to support the Bromsgrove Rovers of old will remember Jack Sharkey, the old chairman. Some people would say he was probably one of the best chairmen the Bromsgrove Rovers ever had, who's now passed away. But his grandson, Luke, who's getting more involved with the club, supplied the tunnel, which was very generous of him. We've got a situation where Jay from the Nailers pub up in Bourneheath supplied us with the digital clock on the other side of the ground. Again, very, very grateful for. And people, again, I keep mentioning local people that have given us support in so many different ways. All add to that experience. That experience can't be, it can't be achieved without the volunteers of this football club, which are amazing on so many different levels. You have a pitch that 3 people in particular, Rob, Joe and Brian, they basically nurture this pitch to the point where we have spent a bit more money on it, and we've tried to help them as much as we can, and they have done a phenomenal job. And in terms of grass pitches, we think it's right up there in the top 3 or 4 that are in the league, and that's down to all their efforts. We've got a ground force team, a maintenance team, which maintain all around the ground, and that's on a daily basis and a weekly basis, which is excellent. We can't thank them enough. We then, over and above that, have a media team of Max Banner, Chris Curtis and Chris Jepson, who have just been outstanding, and in my opinion probably the best in the league in terms of what they do and what they deliver for the football club. We've had a new addition there with Harry France, who's come in, and hopefully his commentary that he does will enhance again the experience. Over and above that, we have a situation on volunteers wise, the Ella and Hurst team, her bar staff team, who are producing fantastic results, and the club has become more focused for the town more than ever now, and is delivering on lots of different levels. We've got the food contribution that we have now from Della, which is excellent on the day, and the food is superb, and we look forward to that being an ongoing relationship going forward. All the people that work in and around the club on a match day, stewarding, all the stewards headed up by Rob McLaren and Phil Baker, have been excellent all year. The people that work in the office, Sandra and Sarah on a match day. Simon and Vicky have joined us. They're newbies to the club this season. I managed to bring them in, and they've had a huge contribution in what they do in and around the club on so many different levels. Anita in the club shop. If you get the chance to come into the club shop now, it's like chalk and cheese to where it was probably a year ago, and that's all down to the hard work that Anita's done there, and other contributions she does. So I cannot thank all those volunteers enough for what they do, and their continued support for the club. Moving on probably more to the football side, we tried to create the best we can, the youth pathway, an association with the football club. We have Richard and John with the Colts, and we've tried our best to try and integrate them and affiliate them into the club, trying to get more and more involvement with what they do with all the teams and the hard work they do with the Colts, and they've done an excellent job on its own anyway. We have the Wildcats with Alan Williams, the girls, and that's a developing situation. They're adding teams as we go along, and they will look to continue. So if there's any girls out there that want to try their hand at the football, more than welcome to get in touch with Alan Williams and try and build that. We tasked Ian Queen with trying to develop an under-21s as part of the continuous pathway, and he's been successful in recruiting Mark and Stuart for the under-21s, who I think they had in the region of 90 plus boys that apply, and they got it down to a good squad, and it's been so far so good. we're very pleased with the progress, but it is an evolving situation and it will get stronger as the season goes on. The ladies from Alan Horton and the ladies development, that's obviously a challenge on both levels. They've stepped up a league, the ladies, after an unbeaten season, so we hope that they continue to hold their place and hopefully grow as well. So we move on to probably the bit that's most important to most people, is the football club and the football and where we are and the status of where we are. We've had a very challenging and difficult time, and I think I stated at the fans forum early on that the budget that we have is always going to be challenging in this league. This league seems to have gone crazy with regards to the amount of money that's available for teams at the top end. However, it's a status that we want to retain. We think we can build on. I think Scott's early days have been very, very successful. We're very, very pleased. And as I think mentioned earlier, the players have bought into what he wants to try and do. So with that in mind, we went into our Christmas period and our position looked precarious, to say the least, and it has done for quite a while. But we've had a great belief in this squad. We haven't changed it dramatically. It hasn't changed. Scott hasn't changed it dramatically from the early season, just with a tweak here and a tweak there. We've had a couple of two or three good additions, and we were unfortunate. We lost Josh Israeli to a bad injury, which will take him out for the rest of the season at a time when we could have done with him. But we've recruited well, 2 or 3 players that have come in. And we're now in a situation where we came into the Christmas period where we were looking to try and see whether, in my opinion, I would have taken 5 points from the 5 games that we had ahead of us. I'd have taken 5 all day because they were tough games. And here we are 3 games in with 2 to go, and we've already got 7 points, which is unbelievable. So we've got a bit of a free hit against Hales Owen, and we look forward to that game. And then we've got Hitchin as the last game of our Christmas period. So we are very, very optimistic. If we continue along this path, if we keep the squad free of injury, that we're going to hopefully climb the positions that we need to climb. So really, that's where we are at the end of 2024. I can't thank people enough. I'd like to leave you with a bit more of a positivity into 2025 as to where we are. There's a lot we've got planned for 2025 as part of the development of the club and what we still want to be doing. And first and foremost, we want to keep our status, and we want to try and build on that and try and build a foundation that we can improve again for next season. For those of you, I've mentioned it before, but we are going to be starting a new stand at the bottom end of the ground, the south side, at the end of the season, which will be the Jack Sharkey stand. So that's exciting, because by the time we come back for the start of the following season, hopefully that will be there for everybody to see. We want to coincide that to celebrate. I don't know if people know this, but in 1885 football started in Bromsgrove, and it's the 140th year anniversary in 2025. We want to make a lot of that in the town because it has huge significance for lots and lots of people and generations before. So we're hoping to mark that with various celebrations throughout the year, and we look forward to that, and details to follow. And we want to continue playing a major role in the community and growing on from the things that we've done this year. So finally, I'd just like to say on behalf of all the board, who I've really thanked them for their support, but for everybody in the town, all the loyal fans who have been fantastic through a very challenging period, I've got to say, have stuck with us, and that support is undoubtedly huge for the players. Please keep doing it. Let's look forward to a good 2025. Happy New Year.